playmate and a teacher, ready with a joke when times were sad. And in my teens.
Hello, everybody. My name is Desiree, aka Virtuous Desi. Thank you so much for watching my channel. As you can see from the title, this is an interview with my dad. If you missed the interview with my mom, you can look on my website, on my blog post. I did an interview with my mom, but here I have an interview with Papa Cummings. So hi, Dad.
Hey there, daughter.
Thanks for coming on. I have a couple questions that I wanted to ask my dad that I thought might be useful for some of you who are young ladies, young men who may be watching this, know about my testimony, or just want to know how previous generations have successfully raised children that still love the Lord, still serving God, well into our adulthood. So I remember when I was in elementary school, this is before we started officially going back to church, you know, my classmates thought I was a pastor's kid. Did I ever tell you that?
Maybe so.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. I was like, no, my dad's a computer programmer. They were like, really? I'm like, yeah. Oh man, we thought you were a pastor's kid. Like,
Well,
no.
your grandfather was.
Yes, yes. But y'all were doing something right, I guess, even before we started going back to church. But okay, so first question. Just talk a little bit about like the importance of faith in family and kind of how you navigated that with us from when we were little to like when we decided to start going back to church, or you decided really, because that's how we ended up. Yeah.
Well, one should maybe start with the Bible, where it says to train a child the way it should go,
Mm,
so that when it gets older, it would remember those things and be a better person.
yeah.
There's also a scripture that says, remember thy creator in the days of your youth. And I was brought up, well, my sister, my father was a pastor. I was brought up in church. And I was doing, over the years, I learned things about the Bible. And I guess it was instilled in me even after I had went away from the church when I was in my late 20s,
Mhm.
I would say. What I did is that once my son and daughter had reached the age of what you call them, where their minds could capture.
Mm, mhm.
Can't do it too young because it'll just go over their
Yeah.
heads. Uh, but when uh, they could, I guess maybe by the youngest was maybe about 5, 6. That would be you.
Yeah.
On Sundays, uh, we did not go to church, but what
Right.
I would do is to have Sunday school in the morning for maybe about an hour each Sunday, and I would tell them about God, how He created uh, the earth,
Oh,
the
wow.
universe, created mankind, and I also let you know about the enemy of mankind, which is Satan, how
Mm,
he will make people do the wrong thing.
mhm.
So you have no awareness of the good, which is God. His name is Jehovah. And you have awareness of the evil one.
Yeah.
What I would give them the history of the nation of Israel, how they started out
Yeah.
with Jacob and his 12 sons and 4 wives, because they were the basis of the nation of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
How they grew from there. They went to Egypt, stayed for 30 years, and then were put in bondage. You will find that that was prophesied in Genesis, chapter 15 something, uh, 12 to 16, something like that. But anyway, it was prophesied that they would be in bondage for 400 years,
Mm-hmm.
and how they endured through that. Moses was chosen to be the one that would lead them out of Egypt and to the mountain called Mount Sinai, and where
Mm-hmm.
God spoke to the people, gave them the language of Hebrew,
Yeah.
and demonstrated that he was real.
Mm-hmm.
Because he scared the people because of the fire on the mountain, the trumpets that were blowing exceedingly loud, the ground was shaking, and the fire from the mountain was hot. It didn't hurt them, but it was like if you ever stood in front of a barbecue pit and that heat comes towards you, this is
Like,
pretty much
woo. Yeah.
what they felt.
Yeah.
And
That's interesting.
we would try to give, and both myself and mom, um, I would pretty much be the disciplinarian, and mom, she would give the abundance of love. Um, so there was a balance.
Yeah.
Uh,
Of it.
Sometimes one might think that I was overbearing, but sometimes mom would intervene and say that's enough, or
Mm-hmm.
go easy, whatever. But
Yeah.
they had love for both of us.
Yeah. I definitely think so. Because I think that's important because what I'm noticing now as I look at, colleagues, friends, associates, church people raise their children, there's a lot of coddling, I would say. Like, there's not this respect for your parents like there used to be. There's a lot of, no, Johnny, don't do that. Come down from the altar. And they just keep going. And there's clearly no consequence because the child has no fear of disobeying their parents. And I think that can be dangerous. We know about the young boy that died, not obeying his parents. So not to say that that's always to that extreme, but I do think it's important for your children to have a measure of respect for what you tell them to do or not to do, right? And you can have that balance, you know.
Yeah, that is true. On a couple of occasions when we would, all 4 of us would go out to a restaurant to eat, people that we didn't know that were observing us, they would come over and compliment us on how well the children behaved.
Mhm.
And we thought that was, well, that was very nice that other people can see that we uh, had control of
Yeah,
our children.
yeah. Because I think my brother and I, we've definitely had a healthy, I would say healthy fear of both you and mom. We definitely, definitely scared to get dad mad, but even with mommy too. I mean, all she had to do was give us a look, and we would just stop, whatever we were doing most of the time. Uh, but Yeah, I don't know how you did it, but I do think it's important for people to know it's possible to have that love. Like you were the disciplinarian, but you were also our playmate. When dad came home, that was time to play games or swing on your arms or get you to draw a dinosaur for the 100th time. I don't know what we were doing. But
Remember us forming a circle and jumping around up
oh,
and down? You remember that? Yeah, we would do that. We hold hands and jump around in the circle just to have a nice laugh and be together.
oh wow. I don't, yeah, I was probably too young to remember that. I do remember you letting you swinging Junior around on your arm, and then I say, "Do me, do
Do me, yes.
me." Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but then, there was that aspect of, being that disciplinarian too, that I do think is important to have the balance. Um, that's Aurora, the fur child playing with her toys in the background, if y'all can hear that. But the last question, any advice or words of wisdom, especially for young men who are trying to do things the right way. They want to go against the grain, which was hard to do 20 years ago. But, it's even harder now. So, I mean, any words of wisdom about family, encouraging them those that desire to be husbands and fathers, but are struggling to find either women that want to or women that are worth marrying. Any any words of wisdom, even something I haven't mentioned that you feel led to share with the young people that
What comes to mind is that a man should take his time and choose the woman that he's compatible with and the right one. Don't be like many that will want to sleep with the woman before marriage or go from woman to woman. Uh, you don't test drive girls before marrying them. Going, there's a person that I went to school with, and the guy thought that it was such a good accomplishment that he was making babies from different women. And that kind of mindset is awful. Uh,
yeah,
that's children that you have to support. And if he was doing so, if he had so many, he may not have been. But
yeah,
still, the right thing to do is to wait, uh, find the right girl. Once you're married, you stay married. It's not easy. You don't be like Hollywood where you marry and then a couple of months later divorce, marry somebody else, maybe a year or two divorce. It's not a game to play.
yeah,
Uh, you are to marry for life, even if you have certain problems. You try to adjust. Part of the marriage vows are for better and for worse. It's not always going to be better. There's going to be things that may come up that you're not happy about, but you do your best, not only for yourself and your wife, but for your children. It is a terrible thing to raise up a child in a broken home. Uh, that even if you're not happy, you should at least stay with the family until the children are grown. Don't give them a broken home. That is a bad seed to be growing, because then that child may not have the stamina or the courage
Mm-hmm.
to stay in their marriage when they grow older.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to have something snowballing from generation to generation of broken homes.
Yeah.
God is not pleased with that. But if I could, uh, I won't say brag, but let's say that by God's grace, I've been married to the same woman for over 40 years. And
43.
that children, except for when I was working out of town, they could see the interaction between myself and my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and they had us both.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you don't want to be going through life hopping on just one leg. You got two, gives you balance.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that is something I wish to convey to, off the top of my head, to younger men.
Amen. Yeah. And that's so true. That's a good analogy, hopping on one leg, because I feel like, especially single moms, feel that way, when they allowed themselves to get in situations with men that were not their husbands. I know that's something that I never wanted. Um, I didn't see it as worth that. Um, no moment's pleasure is worth a lifetime of, maybe sort of kind of having someone in and out of your children's lives. Um, but yeah, take your time, guys, and choose the right woman, and no test driving.
Yes.
No test driving, girls. You're just perpetuating the problems that you are hating right now. I think modern dating is where it's at because a lot of millennials my age grew up in broken homes. I can remember, a lot of my friends having one parent or another, some had two parents. I'm sure that's only increased as time's gone on. But yes, great words of wisdom, uh, especially staying married, no matter what. It's not a game. It's not about your happiness. It is a sacrifice. That is the opposite of what you're hearing from the world for sure. So I will take that into my marriage, sir.
All right.
Yes, yes. Well, is there anything else you wanted to say or anything that you can think of before we?
There is one thing.
Hmm?
I did have to respond to my son because in school they actually teach atheism, and they from what he had learned, some of the things that we taught from the Bible didn't make sense, and he said Genesis was a fairy tale.
Really? How old
Yes.
was he? Like in elementary school?
He was going to middle school, so I
Oh,
guess he was roughly 11,
oh,
13, something like that.
uh-huh.
And so that is when the time to actually show him the truth about the book of Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was able to lay it out, comparing using the fossil record and how the world of theology and creationism does not understand, he was so happy that what I had told him earlier was true about the Bible. I saw his eyes light up, and that meant a lot to me.
Oh, yeah,
And I guess to him, uh,
yeah,
to learn that the Bible is true and that there is a God comforts a lot of people. I
yes,
guess it should comfort everyone.
yeah,
that we're not alone. We have a
Um,
Father in heaven, and one day everybody is going to find out. So that's it.
Man, wow. I love that. I will leave it there. That was really good. Yes, I plan to homeschool my kids. Um, so that's even more reason to do so. So we don't have this, but it's awesome that your desire to answer your son's concerns was also answered by your father through the revelation of Genesis that you received. So you were able to provide such a scientific answer to him. So that's awesome. I will leave some links below. My dad has written a book about the truth of Genesis. We will leave links below about those. Any other articles or blogs you want me to share, let me know. I will give all the links to my website. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was a blessing to you. Yes.
So long, everybody.
Yay.